Welcome back. And as I mentioned earlier, our guest today is very cultural. He's an ethnomusicologist. He's a researcher. He's a musician as well. And his name is very familiar on the streets of music when it comes to the cultural perspective of it. And he is the legendary Waliko Makhala. And he's joining us today on Street House. Welcome to the show.
It's so my honor and privilege to be hosted by you. This is a wonderful space, and I also don't take it for granted for inviting me. Lots of people you would have hosted in your program, but I'm humbled, honestly, to be here.
Oh, trust me, we love that you're here. I love that you're here. So, like I said earlier, you're a man of many talents. There's so much that we need to unravel about you because a lot of people see this image of a culturalist of sorts as Waliko in Waliko Makhala. But just take us through, before we get into all of that, just take us through how you actually grew up and how you actually transitioned into this very cultural person that you are right now.
Well, I come from a humble beginning. My parents, my father was the first Malawian headmaster just right here at Idara Primary School.
Oh.
So we grew up there. At that time, Darab was dominated by the Asian community and other races. But my father came in and he became the first Black Malawian headmaster. So we grew up there in town, and this was our space in Blantyre. We used to come to Apollo, Vistarama, that time Apollo Cinema, to watch movies. There were Saturdays, we had kids, young teen time shows that we were patronizing in town. So we grew up from here. Then from here, he was the headmaster at Zingwangwa Primary School. And from there, he is the one who championed the establishment of Zingwangwa Secondary School and the other secondary school, Jumangoda. But I grew up in Blantyre.
So you were born and raised in
I was
Blantyre?
raised in Blantyre.
Okay.
And in Blantyre, that time was different. It is not the Blantyre of today, it was a community. Blantyre was a community. So we used to know families, like the families in Dirande, all those, the Makatas, the Chisizas, the Sangalas. In Zungwang, we're talking of Ndiche Malares. In Chilobo, we're talking of the Mandas, everybody. So out of this, were artists. Blantyre was the hub of artists. We had the MBC band members, late William Marikula staying in Kanjeta. We had the Sounds Pentagon staying in our hood in Zungwangwa. These are Greenwood Timber, now later on known as Wambari Mkandawile, but we knew him as Greenwood Timber. He was a vocalist for Sounds Pentagon. We had the Geoff Jr., we had Roxy Piri. So the guitars were there. So we grew up playing the guitars, and the songs that we would play at that time were mostly rock, Afro rock music, and some jazz songs. So say House of the Rising Sun. It's a house. The rising sun. And it's been a ruin for me. Your Lord, I know I'm one by the Animals.
That's
so such
amazing.
Songs we started
Guys,
playing.
we seriously have a legend in the house.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't contain myself right now.
So
I might ask you to do it a little something for me later on.
Yeah, so these are the songs that we grew playing, the Animals, rock type, jazz, very complicated music at a tender age. But that time also, there was a karate craze. Like you wouldn't be a young guy without belonging to a dojo. So we had all these dojos. You can see the knuckles. They are now old, but the knuckles came out because we had our own dojo in Zungwangwa. There was another dojo in Indirand, several in Indirand, in fact. Nyambadwe, Mike Somanja had some, lots of guys. You're talking of
Was it just peer pressure?
It was like a fashion
Okay.
that you would be fit. So we grew up in an environment that was very competitive, but also the peer pressure was there. But the peer pressure was in the right direction because it made us physically fit and mentally stable, and it made us to be independent. And most important, we grew up being critical thinkers. That was our generation. So we would grow up in town. As you could see, we were exposed. We also had the rainbow driving. We would go there to watch movies. Yeah, so it was that environment that we had the French Cultural Center.
Yes.
The French Cultural Center was also the hub where we had a lot of movies, coming in French movies and the language.
Yeah.
So we're speaking 1-2 words in French. And we also had the French Cultural Center Music Festival. That was the first one. Before all these musical festivals in Blantyre, we had then other guys came in. I remember we had Samsonda. He is one who started inviting groups from South Africa. But there was a vibrant cultural atmosphere
at the time.
And also there was also a vibrant sports community because we had youth center. So we'd go to youth center and play football, basketball. We're engaged youth at that time.
Yeah.
Those are the days that now it's just reminiscence.
Yeah.
But that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then went to a Dara Primary, selected it to HHI. So you can see it was just close by. So I did my secondary education at HHI.
Okay.
And at HHI, it was wonderful because we also had guys, great guys. That's why I met Lucie Caesar Jr. We started Wakumbata Workshop Theatre. There were 3 of us and the other guys later joined
at HHI.
At HHI as in 1983. Basically, Wakumbata Workshop Theatre was established as a protest theatre by Lucie Caesar Jr. He was joined up by the cast that was in a play called A Deceased Attack. The Deceased Attack, we won the ATEM. That time we had ATEM drama festivals. So the competition was very competitive because it was like Chichiri Secondary School was dominating that time.
Yeah.
It was always winning because they had a guy called Owen Mbirizi. He's also a jazz musician. Mr. Owen Mbirizi was the director and the patron of Chichiri. So they had a very good plays all the time. But this time around, we had the Lucie Caesar and we had the Roy Hawia and Bruno Coase as our patron for drama and Mrs. Huff. So our play, The Deceased Attack, which was written by Lucie Caesar and directed by him and in collaboration with the teachers, it was like a masterpiece. So it propelled us to another level at HHI Secondary School and we won that festival. But something happened with Du. He had to go to America to study at Philadelphia School of Performing Arts, University of Performing Arts. Then while he was there, I maintained the group, but we changed it because we had recruited Frank
This was still
in 1984.
At HHI?
At HHI, yeah.
Okay.
So it was like me and Frank was around. He wasn't at HHI. He was at Lunzu. They had now opened Lunzu Secondary School. So we maintained Wakumbata, but as Wakumbata Prophets Theatre. So when Du came back, he returned after his studies. The group was changed to Tiuke Performing Arts because we had a space at Sunside. Sunside, where there is now Sunside Lodge. Yeah, that was a theatre. There was a theatre there. It was like the first theatre in Sunside that we established, apart from relying on the French Cultural Center.
Yeah.
But it did not work out what they do and the management, the uncle Bazuka Muhango. So Du went independent. That's when he established Wakumbata Ensemble Theatre as the first professional theatre company in Malawi.
This also included you.
But now that is where we had parted ways.
Okay.
Because when we established Wakumbata, I was like an ex-official founding member, because I was commissioned at the same time by government, Cultural Affairs Department. So I was.
How did you actually come across that position?
Well, they had advertised a post, and the post was troop leader. So it was an excitement. Troop leader. We're going into forces.
You didn't have any idea what it was
says
about.
a troop leader, cultural affairs. So out of interest, I said, I think maybe I can fit. Let me try and learn. So that's when they picked me, and out of that, we also got a lot of training, and I was sent to Taiwan, Taipei, for training cultural studies and youth. But with the Cultural Affairs Department, because it's now the government, the assignment was we come up with a cultural catalog about Malawian systems. So do you know them? Malawian systems, traditional indigenous systems.
Okay, you're passing by your experience in Taiwan like it's nothing. Like,
yeah, that was just a training.
How long were you actually there?
Yeah, to equip us. That one is something for another day.
Oh, come on, just a little bit. How long were you there?
Okay, but basically it was a training into cultural studies and how you could annotate dance. For example, if you have a song, Kamanagamini, Kamanagamini kangoti mayo mayo, wamuna nchilombo, kuche nsanga ntuluke, chauya mata ndigwire ndatembenuka, ndili mwanako mbuyo ndalira, malodza yawa. So you look at that song, and that song, you have to analyze it. What is it saying? What is the surface meaning saying? How do we put that indigenous knowledge into our day-to-day lives in a family? Because the family is supposed to be the cell, the component for humanity. Now you find out that the song is tackling an issue about family planning, in our indigenous system. So it is tackling a health issue that I've got a little kid, Chauya, representing a man who is demanding for his conjugal rights, but there's a baby. So this Chauya, this God, this big monster is troubling the lady. But no, you need to give this space. So you look at that, then you analyze, but you need to annotate that song. How do you write it? So that is now the things that our colleagues outside Malawi are very good at. They now record those things, they annotate it, they transcribe. The transcription is different because their songs and our songs are different. So I had to learn that, and I found it wanting on my part because I said, no, this is very challenging. I need to further to understand the dynamics of cultural systems. I need also to understand music education because I can't do this. Now we're lucky because as a first, we're traveling, recruiting artists, 40 dancers that we recruited for the National Dance Company, which was later called the Kwaja Cultural Troupe. And the first boss, my boss, immediate boss was Bernard Kwilimbe, late now. He is the first trained choreographer, as far as I know, because we got engaged top choreographers in UK through the British Council and top choreographers in US through the American Information Services. So they sent us and we were able to go, move up and down, getting training in choreography. But my interest now was in ethnomusicology, because that was what I was introduced by these professors that were coming to train us as master classes in choreography, dance choreography. So for example, you're taking a dance from the village, you are bringing it on a theater setup or in a conference where people are sitting, not like in a village where the arena is at the middle, so the dancers can perform anywhere. But now here you are performing to an audience, international audience or delegates in a conference. You have to bring the National Cultural Troupe. How do you do that? How do you perform? So you need to find the storyline, to choreograph the dance formation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dance formation, the choreography itself, if you also choreograph the dance to profession, you end up risking losing
The cultural essence.
the cultural essence and the values of the dance.
Mm.
For example, a dance like Jintari supposed to be danced in a circle, because the idea is the circle, they are dancing, everybody is around the arena. But now you are performing to an audience that is facing you. If you dance in the circle, are you not only focusing on this other side? So you can break Jintari dance, do triangle formation, whatever. So we've been doing that dance, breaking the dance, but also the costumes and the movement themselves. If you are choreographing for a performance, you need some of the movements, like you look at body deportment, like your body and my body, different. Me, I've got long legs. So if I'm performing, I need also to articulate and have the gravity.
Yeah.
So if I'm dancing, I cannot dance like someone who's short. I need, when I'm doing these movements, I'm articulating them and making them speak loud. Visibility, stage presence. So I have an advantage because of my height. But someone who is short, he needs now to make some extra effort, efforts, you know. So that is part of the dance. Now the dance systems of choreography, like lots of them. Dunham has got, she had her own style, you know, different if you go into dance choreography.
All right. So just to pick your brain, you mentioned about the French Cultural Center, how it definitely played a huge role. I remember as well as a young one going to French culture and also experiencing live the French plays that were being displayed. I actually took part in a play once, a French play, and it was a very interesting experience to be there having these live plays and people being entertained live. Why do you think that right now we don't see a lot of live performances, especially when it comes to plays being exhibited? What do you think could be the most contributing factor to the decline in the live performances?
Well, I think there are a number of factors, because during that time, like when we are still at HHI, having a combater there, but there was also French Cultural Theatre, and I was part of that. I was also part of the Cultural Advancement Theatre, still at French Cultural Center, and it was sponsored by the French Embassy. So we were able to do plays like Chauta's Wrath by Chris Kamlongela. We did Scandalous Kappa, a French play by Molière. We did Last Bus to Chilobe by Kamudoni Nyasulu, the popular director of public prosecutions at that time. So these were plays that were sponsored. So you can see that there was sponsorship. That was like a basket where we could draw some resources to fund the productions. So the productions were funded. Like a good example is, I was a student at HHI, but I was able to be picked by Peugeot from the French Cultural Center. Every 3:30, 4 o'clock, they would pick me to French Cultural Center for rehearsals. And after rehearsals, they would drop me back. You see? So there was that sponsorship and a greater commitment. Like the corporate world came in to sponsor theatre for development. Even at Chancellor College, we had the traveling theatre, traveling throughout the country with the developmental messages and entertaining the people. They had in Chilawabuluzi, for example. But that was engaging out of Chris Kamlongela, like David Kerr, Professor Kerr, Chris Kamlongela, and others who were now getting this support, financial support. Now, theatre is very expensive. Like all the arts, you need investment. So there was investment. And at the same time, there was also investment in training, capacity building, because our group and most of the artists were trained. So we had the Germans coming in, even the musicians. We had the choral workshop, training us in voice training, instrumentation. So that's why at that time you could get artists who were knowledgeable. Blantyre City, they had a department, environmental department, and the parks and the recreation. So they had Mr. Fred Sauka. He was training the artists. People like top artists at that time, Saleta Piri and AB Sounds, City, they were being trained into music by the city. So the city of Blantyre, City Council, was able to have this department where just opposite College of Medicine. That's where they were, where this is now a filling station. That was a space for arts and culture in the city of Blantyre. People were trained. Now,
all right, so sorry to cut you off before we actually continue. We've got so much to unpack. But we'll take a quick commercial break. We're here with the legendary Waliko Makhala, so don't go anywhere.
Matinkale nao kumabali benkalidwe anthu apa no miseche. Matinkale nao kumabali benkalidwe anthu apa no miseche. What's up? My name is CEO Coach Sangala, and you are watching Craft House TV, the game changer. Kati bali mau amachita jogamba musamadikire mukakuta mowa. Sizo lelo maziona musiye miseche. Dizo lelo maziona musiye miseche.
Welcome back, and like I mentioned earlier, our guest today is quite legendary. He is Waliko Makhala. He's an ethnomusicologist. He's a researcher. He is an all-round media guy, guys. I just don't know how to put it, but he's here today to explain more about this. But earlier on, we're actually having a chat about the French Cultural Center and its unfortunate closure right now, and how it affected a great deal, especially when it comes to the arts and theater, because we're looking at this being a house where they would come and experience live performances of acting. You know, this brought happiness in people's homes and people's lives. How did this closure actually affect you guys as performers as well?
It affected everybody because it was a center, it was a hub, it was the mecca, as it per se, of theater mecca. So it meant that families were finding their space there. Artists were also finding their space. But now there were some diplomatic challenges that occurred during that time that led to the closure of that space. There was a new ambassador who was supposed to give his letters of credence, but that did not happen. So the French were angry and decided to close the space. And that made some of us bleed in our heart because we had nowhere to go to perform. After some time, Lucie Caesar became a minister of youth, sports and culture. He fought and lobbied and the space was reopened. It did not also last long. The French also packed up and went. And it was that time that caused a lot of pain to some of us because the place was now vandalized. It was left in a state of disrepair. Do you have any idea of why they actually left in the first place? They left because they still had the same challenges where they could not present their credence to the president, and it caused a lot of diplomatic problems because the space was originally given by the first president, Kamuzu Banda. He had gone to France to lobby and to get support from the French. But at that time, Charles de Gaulle said they did not have the money, but they said they can open up an office as a consulate. So they started on that level, and it was open, it was given to the French. So after that, there was a lot of confusion because of that diplomatic challenge. And it was also a space that were advancing French languages during that time. Yeah. Not only French, but we were also advancing our languages like Chichewa and Diao and other music lessons, like Mr. Aaron Sankara was one of the first teachers at that space who was teaching French, Chichewa and Yao, and also music. Some of us also benefited from the music lessons at French Cultural Center. So in excess, we say that culture is overlooked most of the times, and there's a lot of misconception about culture and our indigenous knowledge systems, and we as traditionalists, we find it difficult to have our space in the society, in the modern society. We know that the world is advancing, there's technology coming in, affecting that people have got the smartphones and they can access our music and entertainment at home without going to spaces like French Cultural Center. But
are there any ways that you're trying to bridge your way into the technological aspect as well?
We try to break even by, like, we have the Sounds of Malawi at Jacaranda Cultural Center, which takes the model of a French Cultural Center, because they're also teaching languages there. Okay. But what is coming out clear is the position of culture or cultural department. All the regimes that come in, they place this cultural department anywhere they wish. So today, someone will come up and say it's under Minister of Education and Culture. The other time, someone will say, no, I think this is Minister of Wildlife, Tourism and Culture. Then someone comes and says, this is under Unity, Local Government and Culture. Someone will say, no, this is under Ministry of Health and Culture. So culture is not understood in its own context and right. And this is where we find that most of the artists also, they suffer as a result of that. It is difficult to survive as an artist in Malawi. Why is that so? But now you find that those who are surviving are not surviving because of playing the traditional music that is supposed to be advanced. You now have to play commercial music. So some of us, it will be a challenge to play, like for me, to start playing amapiano or to
that would be quite interesting.
To go and start playing hip hop. I mean, it's gonna be difficult because my mission is to preserve, promote, and safeguard our cultural systems, the traditional instruments. But now, what happens if I take my Waliko here? You will say, what instrument is this? If I take my sons, my mbira to play here, you also look at that. But look, the sasi, the mbira, the kalimba that I play, it is telling us a story. It is telling us about our people. It is telling us about our history. It is telling us about technology. That instrument, when you analyze it, it is a tuned idiophone. It has got the lamella. Where do the lamella come from? They're coming from someone who is into technology, into mining. Our people were mining long before the mines of Johannesburg. Our people, our ancient people, they went into technology, into mining, because they would go dig, have furnaces, have all this mining. So it tells us about the period in history that we're coming from Stone Age to Iron Age. And the Iron Age, there was technology. And further to that is that instrument, when you look at it, the kalimba. I wish I'd brought mine.
Just to give us a
picture. I have
picture,
it in the car anyway. I could bring it. That instrument, when you look at it, you go into the tuning system. What is the tuning system saying? Because they are now lamella or the tuned idiophones or the steel, which are 21. And in Western music construction, you only have 8. The steps that you go from C to C. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. All I can play that.
Is that your job?
How many notes have I played? But now our Asian people had the Waliko with 21 lamella, 21 tongues, 21 distinct sounds. So these people, the Asian people, our people, how do you call them? When the Western music construction or conceptualization of music is on this major scale. You can go to pentatonic, but you go 5 notes, you go to you just playing around. But ours were rich. So we are saying that our people, musically, they were too advanced. And that's the music that we're supposed to advance. But now, because we don't have space, we don't have people in authority who can appreciate and understand this type of music construction or this type of indigenous knowledge systems in terms of music and art. Another example maybe is a classic example that you can have is when they are singing a song like a Gule Wankulu song. Msaulokela or Chisamba song. Msaulokela, pakati aba bali msinje antu angadane msaulokela. You now analyze the music construction, the way the melodies and harmonies are coming. There's someone who is leading, but in the context of that, someone is just singing another totally different line. It's not in the main like scale pattern where you have tonic, the soprano, tenor, alto, and bass. Because someone in the same song will sing, hey, but he's singing. He's singing.
Yeah.
And someone, yeah. Now, when you analyze the music, the melody, the harmony, and also the lyrical content, you go into philosophy because they are saying, you don't come to this is my space. And that is human rights. My freedom is not beyond my nose. Because if I go, I step on your toes, I'm infringing on your right. Now, this is a song, a traditional song that is advancing that philosophy. Don't give me my space. Let me do my things. You do yours.
This is a whole musical lesson that we're having. But to just move away from that part, let's go to the time when you now you're still at MBC. You're one of the...
I work as that's where I work. I'm about to retire.
We'll definitely get to that in a bit. And the whys. Yeah. But you are at MBC and you've been at MBC. And you've also pioneered some of the programs that... are very much significant when it comes to culture. We're looking at Jina Zakwatu as one of the examples as well. And not only that, you're also quite popular for being, I want to say, quote unquote. Okay, I won't say it. But you were the favorite of the president, the then late president, that's Bingu Tariga, and you pretty much traveled with him a lot.
Yes.
Why would you say that was so?
Well, because of a number of elements. One of them is professionalism. You know, our job as broadcasters, as journalists, you need to be professional and ethical. And you don't have to be political. Because what is politically right today is going to be politically wrong tomorrow in the newsroom. So I've worked in that sphere, in that space of broadcasting at the public television. We are the first ones to establish television in Malawi. And we were trained. There was an investment. Dr. Bakili Muruzi invested in television. How? Because it was in the UDF manifesto that there should be a television in Malawi. So we established television 1st April 1999. But we were recruited in 1997 and went to different training in television journalism. Some went to Namibia. I went to France. Late Sweeney went to South Korea. Julius and others went to Japan. You talking of others went to German. Others went to UK, USA. And we also had some training locally by Thomson Foundation, British Council, British BBC, Doshvela, CFI, CFAP, all these UNESCO came to train us into TV. So that crop, the founding crop of TV personalities, they were well trained. There was an investment and where people were following ethics. And with Bingu, He liked me because I produced Know Your Presidential Candidates. And he was one of them. I had the late Honorable Tembo. There was late Justin Malewezi. There was Mr. Brown Penganjila and the Bingo Mutariga. That's the first time, more like first time that I first met him. And I was the producer. And my duty as a producer was to make all these candidates look nice on television. Because as a producer, you need to make your guest look nice, like the way you are making me look nice here. Now, out of that, it was now like he couldn't believe it that, you mean in Malawi we have good producers who can make someone look nice on TV?
Yeah.
Because in TV, the first citizen, you must make him look nice on TV. And he must sound nice. So the sound, the picture, everything must be on point. So that's what I did. And it happened that I became presidential guest.
Did that ever conflict with your work, especially?
No,
when
it was
you
part
went
of
out?
my work. It became part of my work because I was the first presidential guest. I took that first trip. It was in Kenya. And because of me being an artist, we also picked Ben Michael Mankamba for his first international show in Kenya. And I was also like his manager. You can ask him, he was shaking, shivering, because it was the first time to play for an international audience, I think.
Yeah.
And the show was a bit a challenge at first because the previous artist was a very powerful artist from Kenya. So we were coming after him, after her. And Ben Michael was like shivering, but it was nice because we made fun out of it afterwards. But it was one of the best shows that he has ever performed, including the performances in Algeria. So we traveled with Bingu almost in most of the countries in Asia, Europe, and Africa. I was producing, making look nice and effective on TV. So that was the main objective and advancing the development agenda at that time.
In your travels, was there any aspect that you ever included when it came to the cultural perspective, being that you on a personal scale as well?
Yeah, with the president, with Lady Bingu, we even bought drums and people were surprised. We went to Rwanda, Kigali. We bought big drums. There were about 10 traditional drums. You know, those ones that are used in Rwanda. We bought them and I carried them. We brought them in a Donia, military Donia, the Donia, the army. We brought drums in there and people were saying, you guys, you using this?
Is this what you're bringing back?
Yeah, we brought those drums. We bought them in Kenya, in Rwanda, when we went to Rwanda with the president. So we brought the drums and we gave them to the Department of Culture.
So where do you think those are being
I
displayed?
don't
Are
know
they
whether
being
they're still keeping
displayed
them.
or have they been shoved somewhere?
We took them, we bought them for them. So Bingu was one of the presidents that was very deep in culture. He was also a composer, you know that.
Oh,
Music composer.
That's very
Some of these songs were in top US charts.
really?
But will not tell you.
No,
because he
come
was
on.
working under a pen
Just-
name. No, the family will tell you, but ask them. Bingu was an artist. He was an artist. A composer for that matter.
That's
And
amazing.
the songs were in top US charts. I will not tell you. You have to do your...
He's giving me some homework, guys, so I'll definitely
So
get to
there are
do
lots of
that.
untold stories about Malawi and the patrons that we have in Malawi. Yeah.
From your perspective, how do you think that Malawi as a country could preserve our culture moving forward?
Moving forward, I think when we are looking at the 2063 agenda, we need to stop rhetoric as a nation. We need to stop being hypocrites about cultural systems and indigenous knowledge systems. We need to advance a progressive cultural agenda by providing infrastructure and spaces for performances. We need to invest. We need also to give the corporate world has to come in to invest in our artists. Our artists, when you give them the support, the financial support, you'll be amazed. Look at what is happening currently. We have got Jet coming into the scene. Now, if you challenge the women that, no, you come up with a popular contemporary music, but you should base your music on our music systems. You know, in Malawi, we have over 250 distinct music genres. And some of the people recorded them early, like Hugh Tracy in 1949 recorded Andrew Tracy, the Cubic, Professor Cubic, Moya Malamus. They've recorded Malawian music genres that are over 250. For example, in Chikwawa Sanje, you have Likoba, Maseseto, Magamba, Mabyoka, Utse, Mabacha, Chikuzire, Vitsukulumwe. How many are there?
These are all names that are very new to me.
Music genres in Sanje and traditions. And why should someone come and perform different music genres and not capitalizing on that? I challenged late Joseph Tembo when he was a producer. I said, look, Jose, I documented about 250 music genres and traditional systems in Malawi. From where you're coming from, Lower Shile. These are the music. Why are you playing a different music genre and not capitalizing on that? So if you hear Joseph Tembo, his last album, he capitalized on music from his home village, Domingo. Those are music traditions from Lower Shile. Now, if you go to up north, maybe you say I am biased about, but go up north, Chitipa. How many you have got there? Ngwaya, Ningwaya. Chaka they play using just the maize in a calabash. You have Indingala, you have Minoe, you have Sendemule. All those dances. You have Mabenenka.
Should we be expecting music from you very shortly?
Well,
all of these, maybe some of these genres, all of some of these 250 genres merged together in one song. Or
so
an album.
This is where the challenge comes in when people say you don't have a Malawian sound. Out of 250, how can you come up with a Malawian sound? You can come up with a blend, or we can come up with what the Nyao King is doing, where he's combining the Gole into his music, into urban music. Or you can come up like where is some guys they're taking now Mabenenga or Malibenga or Honala, you know, and coming up with their music from Nkata Bitonga area. So you can have people like coming with the Sekere, like what the Saleta was doing. Because for your information, Saleta music is very deep, rooted, not only like Lomi sounds, but the guy, because of city of Blantyre, it had invested in those guys. They had a space at a close college of medicine where the city of Blantyre had the recreation parks and performing arts department. And Mr. Let's Fred Sauka was teaching music, and Saleta was one of the students. You know that. So if you study Saleta music, it is beyond Sekere. It is beyond Chopper. Because the guitars, everything, the way he was fusing his music based on the roots made him popular. Now, for me, of all these traditional, I need to play, record. I'm doing that. I've got a band. My son's playing the brass. I've got, it's like a full band with brass section, traditional instruments, but it has been a challenge in Malawi because the ear now is tuned to the music that is popular and commercial in nature.
Yeah.
Now to come up with our music, bush music, the traditional, the Chindidi sound, the Chintari, the Ngoma, the Utse, the Likuba, the Vimbuza, you know, it's like we are now starting again, a revolution, an artistic revolution. And that's where the challenge is with the institutions like MAST, where they are doing African musicology. Chancellor College, they've just introduced their music. The arts department there, School of Arts and Culture. And I think They will have lessons based on what we are saying. Otherwise, it would be useless for our students to go there and learn Western classic music at the expense of over these 250 music genres. So we need a research component, a vibrant research component, and people who can champion to go into the village, record the music, bring them, and let's annotate. If Ngoma goes, how do we write it? The Ngoma Maseko from Cheu. Is it 6/8? Or is it, if you calculate that one, because there is, then you go. How do you write that to teach at that university? Can we challenge our professors, our lecturers at Chansa College and Mast that they should collect, annotate, and transcribe over these 250 music genres and dances of Malawi before they become extinct, unfortunately, and the instruments.
You seem very knowledgeable about music yourself, and you seem passionate about even teaching music, especially from what I'm hearing from you. Do you plan on actually having lessons on, musical lessons, like the way you're saying, on a cultural perspective for people that may be interested?
Yeah, for people who are interested, we tried it at Lucenza Muitere Primary School. I was running a project with the New School. It's called the New School. It's a university in Los Angeles. I mean, in New York. It's a university of jazz. So they were sending me students from New York, New School, here. Those are guys who are doing masters in jazz music. So we'd come and go to teach us music education for the little ones to know how to play music by sight. Because our music, generally, we play it by ear. And most of the musicians in Malawi, they play music by ear, not by sight. So music education, where we are now trying to teach the pupils from primary, because that's where we should start. We should have our efforts targeted to the youth at primary level before you go to tertiary and to professional levels, because that's where will be our nursery. And that's a mission that I want to do, because I want to retire from media.
So is that what you...
But do these things, teach people like you, because my lesson, when I'm teaching, I start with biology. Then I go to physics. If I want to teach you music. Why? Biology. It's because you need to understand that your eardrum, how does it respond to sound? And what is sound? When we're talking of Ohm's law, decibels, why do we do that? Why should this one called an E? What frequency is this one as opposed to this? It's still E. So the frequencies, it is physics. We go to physics, we go to sound. So my lesson, if I'm teaching, I start with the subjects, biology and physics. Then I go to mathematics. I teach mathematics or arithmetic because you're talking of triads in music. Triad 3. So why do you have triads? Why do you go? So we start teaching the students mathematics and arithmetic. So it's a whole structure that is designed in terms of music knowledge and education.
All right. So before we wrap up our chat, what is your last words, let me just say, to the people that are listening and are passionate about culture and preserving it as well? Just maybe some advice or maybe some collaborations that maybe you would like to encourage people that are listening and watching.
Well, I think we are coming to a point where we should celebrate cultural diversity. And this is a point where our artists, those on the street, those in the village, those at the institutions of higher learning, and artists who are people like professionals who want to go into us, to rethink about our position as Malawi and our values as people who are supposed to celebrate cultural diversity. The formation of different ethnic groups in Malawi, is it helpful? or is it detrimental to our national unity? Because now you have different ethnic groups coming in and saying they are advancing a certain cultural agenda or ethnic agenda. Is it that what we are looking for? Or can we come up with a national cultural agenda of ethnic groups that we are all one Malawi, like a baobab tree, which is big with its roots, and the baobab is like a tree for life. Very strong roots, but you have got the branches and you've got the baobab fruit. And this, every ethnic group should be represented in that baobab tree with strong cultural roots. Then we can move on as Malawi. The idea that today you wake up and you have your own cultural grouping, ethnic grouping, I think it should not be advanced at that perspective, but as one tree, a tree with its roots, and the roots is Malawi. Then that tree of unity that is encompassing everybody. And by that, we also go into things like what we have already said, and the advanced sponsorship, corporate sponsorship, infrastructure. Let's get the capacity building. Let's give spaces to our artists. Let's preserve what we have, because if we lose it, it is going to go forever. We will not retrieve it. If we lose our roots, our cultural systems, they will go and disappear. And we have people who will be like zombies, Malawians who have no roots, Malawians who have no ethics, who have no roots at all to celebrate. It will be like walking shadows, empty, because our culture is our spirit and soul of the nation. You can't talk of tourism. You can't talk of technology. You can't talk of advancement in political tolerance without cultural systems advancing their cultural system. You can't talk of marriages. Nowadays, marriages have been broken. The Chief Justice was lamenting just this week that they've got a lot of divorce cases ranging from young people from 18 to 35. Why? It's because we have lost our cultural systems of initiation ceremonies. You don't go into the institution of marriage that was preparing a woman to be a complete woman as opposed to be a feminist. The young guys are going to marriages when they are not prepared to handle responsibility. Miambo ya mipango itatu. You don't know them. What is it? Mpango wa kumutu wapatebulo wa kumphasa. These are things that a young lady should know. That they are talking of cleanliness, they are talking of advancing family home economics. They are also talking of looking at a man as a complete man with his desires and his challenges. Then you have a family. So when we are advancing cultural knowledge systems, we are talking about the family. And there are songs about that. Kujinamari, Kutezo, Kujando. All those systems, we are not advancing them. If we lose them, you have these broken marriages forever. You have divorces every day in court because you have not prepared the people who are going to marriage. Because it's minus their cultural system. The roots of our ancestors, the ancient knowledge that our people advanced through music. And their songs do that. Moto, moto, ukuta, moto, moto, riwe, sabala, moto, moto. That you cannot go into enjoying conjugal rights when you are not ready. You have to wait to enjoy familyhood.
Mr. Makhala, I really appreciate your coming here today.
Thanks so much
Definitely
for hosting
been
me.
an eye-opener. Hoping to do this again very soon.
Yeah, there's lots so that we can talk. Thanks for hosting me.
Thank you.
I know time is of a limitation, but yeah. Next time.
Yes.
Thanks so much for hosting me.
That was our guest today for Who is the Legendary Waliko Makhala. So little time and so much to talk about, but I really cannot let him come here with his guitar and not let him use it. So coming up next is a performance by him on Hit Zone. Let's check it out.
Craft House. Yeah, ooh, Craft House. You're watching Craft House. Yeah, you're watching Craft House. TV at Craft House. My name is Dingal Israel, and you're watching Craft House TV, the game changer.
Agubira yabo ndiomwewa Agubira yabo ndiomwewo Ndaonera jekete ndiomwewo Kuyankula kwawo ndiomwewo Agubira yabo ndiomwewo Ndaonera jekete ndiomwewo Kulowa mumzinda ndiomwewo Kulowa mnyumba ndiomwewo Kutapa munkokwe ndiomwewo Ndaonera jekete ndiomwewo Ndiomwewo Kulangula kwawo ndiomwewo Kuyenda kwawo ndiomwewo Ndaonera jekete ndiomwewo Kulowa mumzinda ndiomwewo Kulowa nyumba ndiomwewo Kutapa munkokwe ndiomwewo Ndaonera jekete ndiomwewo Kulangula kwawo ndiomwewo Sana sinte ndiomwewo
I'm
coming live from Craft House. I'm spitting the truth, don't doubt. Spitting the good, my brother, no doubt. It's the SLE. You can do your research, brother. They know me. Pianos and keyboards, but I'm still low key. Yo, it's your boy Slessa, and you're watching Craft House TV. Peace.
Kumwera mpaka kumpoto nanga pakati iyi ndimviri ya Malawi wauona moto kumwera mpaka kumpoto nanga pakati iyi ndimviri ya Malawi
That was an amazing performance there by Waliko. Very cultural and ethnic perspective. And make sure that you do catch the next episode of Street House next week, Friday, right here at 6:30. But as usual, you've been with me, Lucie JR. Until then, peace.